Yay, I don't need to pay child support. Let's get a divorce. What? I couldn't hide my shock when Noah suddenly said this while we were preparing for the funeral. I knew he was selfish, but I didn't realize it was this bad. I want to marry another woman, but she doesn't want kids. So what? If Benjamin is alive, we have to keep paying for child support and his medical bills, right? Oh, I'm so relieved. How cruel. I felt a chill run down my spine. I couldn't believe this guy was Benjamin's father. As my mind cleared, my anger boiled over. I agree to the divorce. Right? Then I'm taking the house, so get out fast. Wait until after the funeral at least. Fine, I don't have a choice. With that, Noah left to anywhere. And on the day of the funeral, I read Benjamin's will. Noah turned pale, and the family glared at him with furious expressions. Let the counterattack begin. My name is Evelyn Smith. I'm a 42-year-old housewife. I used to work for a company doing translation, but now I'm a freelance translator. My husband, Noah, is 45, 3 years older than me. We got married when I was 29, after he handled an account for my company. The following year, our son Benjamin was born, but Noah was so selfish that he never helped with childcare. Benjamin was very sickly and was in and out of the hospital from birth. I often felt guilty, wishing I could have given birth to a healthier child, but Benjamin fought hard through his treatments and managed to hold on for 12 years. Benjamin's health worsened when he was 12, just as the rainy season began. He couldn't stop coughing, couldn't keep food down, and had a persistent fever. We rushed him to the hospital and got him on N4, but his symptoms didn't improve. Mom, I'm sorry I have to go back to the hospital. There's nothing to apologize for. You'll get better, okay? Yeah, I'll try my best, Benjamin said weakly, managing a small smile. I felt tears welling up, but I couldn't cry in front of him. I held back my tears as best as I could. While Benjamin finally got a little sleep, I called Noah. He didn't answer after several attempts. I figured he might be at a client meeting, so I left a message. Noah didn't reply until the next morning. Seeing his message, I called him immediately. Noah answered the phone on the first ring this time. What do you want calling this early? Don't. What do you want me? Why won't you come? Benjamin is fighting hard. But even if I go, it won't cure his illness, right? And the hospital bills are piling up again, aren't they? The bed isn't free either, so tell the doctor to discharge him as soon as possible. What? How can you say such a thing? I can't hear you. I'm going to work now. Wait a second. Noah hung up the phone, ignoring my plea. While Noah had never been very interested in Benjamin, he had never said anything this cruel before. I gripped my phone, trembling with anger. Even after the summer began, Benjamin's condition didn't improve. The doctor told me he might not make it through the winter, so I cut back on work to be with Benjamin as much as possible. Mom, you're here from morning to evening these days. Is your work okay? It's fine. I can do it from home, so don't worry. Okay, if you say so. Benjamin looked concerned, probably thinking my work had stopped and that he was a burden. After that conversation, I started bringing my laptop and working in front of him to ease his worries. Benjamin loved reading and often spent his days with a book. He also enjoyed studying and attended the hospital's school whenever he felt well enough. I wanted to let Benjamin do everything he wanted. However, Noah was very unhappy with my dedication to Benjamin. Not only did he avoid visiting him in the hospital, but he also complained constantly at home. Isn't he out of the hospital yet? He's in a private room, right? The bed costs are a waste. How can you say that when our son is fighting so hard? Can't you visit him just once? I'm busy. One parent visiting is enough. Noah never changed his attitude and never visited Benjamin. Even so, he was still Benjamin's father, and Benjamin must have felt lonely without him. I understood that dragging him along unwillingly wouldn't help, so I couldn't push any harder. By this time, Noah often came home reeking of alcohol, sometimes staying out until morning. He claimed it was for business, but the lipstick on his shirts and receipts from motels told a different story. He couldn't make time for Benjamin, but had time for another woman. My love for Noah had faded, but I stayed because our divorce made Benjamin sad. I endured, thinking that way. Then Benjamin's condition worsened even further. The doctor called me in to deliver a shocking diagnosis. Unfortunately, he has about a month left. No way, isn't there something you can do? There's nothing more we can do. As I broke down in tears, the doctor assured me they would continue to care for Benjamin with utmost dedication. Despite consultations and treatments over the next 2 weeks, Benjamin's condition deteriorated rapidly. Mom, am I going soon? What are you talking about? You have so many things you want to do. I tried to encourage him, holding back my tears where he couldn't see. When the doctor finally said further treatment was futile, I decided to bring Benjamin home to spend his last days there. Can I go home? Yes, the doctor said you could for a change of scenery. Yay! Benjamin's weak voice still sounded excited, and I fought back tears. I told Noah, but he just said, okay, and wandered off. This man is hopeless. I had completely given up on Noah. Benjamin was scheduled to be discharged tomorrow evening, and I was busy preparing the house and handling the discharge procedures. As I was packing Benjamin's things, he suddenly spoke up. Mom, do you love Dad? What? I was so surprised by the question that I stopped what I was doing. Benjamin continued talking, ignoring my reaction. Dad doesn't seem interested in me, or in you, so if you don't love Dad, I want you to live like yourself, even if that means getting a divorce. Benjamin. He must have noticed that things weren't going well between Noah and me. But as a parent, I couldn't let my child worry about this on his deathbed. I forced a smile and answered, What are you talking about? I love Dad, and Dad cares about us too. He's just busy and can't visit often, so don't worry about it, okay? But, yeah, okay. Benjamin didn't look convinced, but he didn't press the matter further. After he fell asleep, I let out a sigh of relief. 2 days later, Benjamin passed away at home. Noah never showed up until the end, and I stayed by Benjamin's side, holding his hand until the very end. Benjamin, Benjamin. I clung to his cold body, crying as I remembered everything from when he first came into my life until now. The doctor and the nurse who had cared for him since he was little came to grieve with me and explained the next steps. One of them handed me a letter from their bag. This is from Benjamin. He asked me to give it to you if anything happened to him. From Benjamin. I took the letter and bowed deeply to the doctor and nurse. I'm grateful to those who kindly supported Benjamin and me during his illness, especially since Noah never helped. After they left, I opened the letter beside Benjamin. What I read shocked me. What is this? In addition to expressing his gratitude, Benjamin had written something shocking. Reading it made my blood boil. Even as the funeral director arrived for the arrangements, my mind was preoccupied with the letter. I still had to make decisions, ensuring Benjamin's funeral would be small yet intimate. The day before the funeral, Noah finally showed up, reeking of alcohol as usual. I had no energy left to argue. Noah pulled another drink from the fridge, commenting, "You've aged." Tomorrow is Benjamin's funeral. Where have you been? I told you, I was at work. Stop complaining. Why did I marry this guy? But if I hadn't, I wouldn't have met Benjamin. My thoughts were a mess. Benjamin is gone. Oh, right. His detached attitude, like a distant relative, made my anger rise. But arguing with him was pointless. I decided to check the funeral arrangements for the next day. Yay, I don't need to pay child support. Let's get a divorce. What? I couldn't hide my shock when Noah suddenly said this while we were preparing for the funeral. I knew he was selfish, but I didn't realize it was this bad. I want to marry another woman, but she doesn't want kids. So what? If Benjamin is alive, we have to keep paying for child support and his medical bills, right? Oh, I'm so relieved. How cruel. I felt a chill run down my spine. I couldn't believe this guy was Benjamin's father. As my mind cleared, my anger boiled over. I agreed to the divorce. Right, then I'm taking the house, so get out fast. Wait until after the funeral, at least. Fine, I don't have a choice. With that, Noah left. On the day of the funeral, I read Benjamin's will. Noah turned pale, and the family glared at him with furious expressions. Let the counterattack begin. The will I read from Benjamin exposed Noah's infidelity. Up until I read the will, Noah had been playing the role of the grieving father who lost his beloved son, crying his eyes out. What? Why that letter? No, it's a lie. Benjamin must have been pranking us. Evelyn, I felt bad about being too busy with work to visit often, but I didn't do this. Noah's attempts to cover up his actions at this point were pathetic. I silently pulled an envelope from my bag and showed him the photos. What? You were spying on me? Would you have a problem with being spied on? Like if people found out about your relationship with the person in this photo? Oh, well. I smiled and handed the photos to the family members, asking them to pass them around. Gasps and murmurs of disgust spread through the room. I can't believe it. Instead of visiting his sick son, he was with this woman. The glares directed at Noah grew harsher, and he collapsed to the floor. I handed him the divorce papers. Noah looked up at me and, in a voice on the verge of tears, pleaded, I was just playing around because you were always taking care of him. Please forgive me. I don't want a divorce. You're not a child. Besides, how many times did I ask you to help with his care? You always used work as an excuse. But taking care of him is gross. The moment Noah said that, he disappeared from my sight and was on the floor. Standing over him, breathing heavily, was my Phil. What do you mean, taking care of your own son is gross? Enough of this nonsense. A parent who doesn't take care of their child isn't a parent. You're despicable. My in-laws had loved Benjamin dearly since he was born. They celebrated every time he was discharged, bought him his favorite things, and never missed a visit. Noah had fooled them with his busy at work excuse, so they hadn't realized how terrible their son was. Tears streaming down their faces, my in-laws glared at Noah. Noah, shocked by being hit for the first time, held his cheek in disbelief. Evelyn, we are so sorry. If we had known he was hurting our son, we would have made you divorce him right away. We're truly sorry, I said. It's not your fault. My in-laws were not to blame. Benjamin loved them dearly, and I hadn't divorced Noah because of them. You did nothing wrong. Look, Benjamin's letter thanks you. Benjamin and I both love you. Evelyn, thank you. We're so sorry, Benjamin. Oh, my Mill hugged me, crying softly. My Phil also shed tears. Beyond them, Noah seemed to snap back to reality. He suddenly stood up, pointed at me, and started yelling. Are you kidding me? Why are you apologizing to this woman? She's just an old hag, a worthless wife who can't even take care of her husband. Noah, you. Eek. My Phil was about to pounce on Noah again, but I stepped in front of him. Noah glared at me, trying to maintain his composure despite his fear. What? What do you want? Got something to say? Not really. This is reality. You have no allies here, and make sure to pay back the money you owe. You borrowed a lot from various people, didn't you? How do you know about that? Noah's creditors among the relatives started murmuring. After reading Benjamin's letter, I had contacted the family. Benjamin had noted that Noah's lifestyle was incredibly costly. The woman Noah was involved with worked in a strip club and loved flashy things like brand name items and international travel. Noah had been paying for everything, but his salary alone couldn't cover it. Realizing this, I contacted the family to inform them about Benjamin and to check if anyone had lent money to Noah. It turned out Noah had borrowed money from not only his relatives, but also mine, under the guise of treatment expenses. At the time, I had thanked them and assured them I would repay them, but now they realized Noah had used the money for his affair. You jerk, I lent you that money for Benjamin. Pay back the $10,000 right now, and me too. Pay back the $20,000. Voices demanding repayment erupted from all directions. Noah looked around, pale, then turned to me with a desperate grin. Evelyn, we're married, right? You'll help me out, won't you? What? Are you serious? You didn't take care of our son, didn't pay for his treatment or even household expenses, and borrowed money everywhere for your own pleasure. Unbelievable. Why would I help you? Don't say that. Noah's voice trailed off as he collapsed back into his seat, clearly out of arguments. I looked down at him and, preparing for the final blow, called out toward the entrance. Luna, please come in. Luna, why are you here? Noah looked like he might faint as he turned to the entrance. Luna approached me cautiously. Her plain appearance was nothing like the photos. I asked her to come. I thought it would be fitting for her to attend Benjamin's funeral since she was with you on his last day. I'm so sorry. Don't bother with superficial apologies. Luna clammed up at my words, her face as pale as Noah's. When she reached me, I handed her some documents. I asked you here to sign these, read them and sign. $50,000. I can't pay that. It's not up to you to decide. When I said that, Luna looked at me with pleading eyes, saying, but. Her actions annoyed me, but I didn't intend to confront her now. Then, Noah stepped between us, trembling. What? It's my fault. Please forgive Luna. Asking for $50,000 is too much. Why? I'm just asking for compensation for your affair. Noah sighed heavily, his brows furrowing. I wanted to do the same, I yelled in my mind, but I waited for Noah's next words. Luna isn't like you, she's fragile. How do you expect her to earn $50,000 by selling herself? How cruel can you be? Noah. Luna clung to Noah's back, lost in bliss, while Noah enjoyed the attention. I wasn't the only one looking at them with cold disdain. Though silent, the relatives were on the verge of exploding. I decided to add more fuel to the fire. Your son is in the hospital, right? Your son? Luna flinched. I continued. He's the same age as Benjamin, 12, and has been hospitalized for a long time. Your ex-husband took him in, right? It must be hard with hospital bills, treatment costs, and bed fees. You must be paying a lot besides child support. How do you know about that? Luna looked at me as if she had seen a ghost. Noah was stunned by Luna's words. I pulled out some documents from my bag and handed them to Noah. Noah, trembling, shoved Luna away. What's this? Divorced with a kid? You never told me. You said the money was for family far away. I didn't lie. My son is family. So, I've been dating a used-up woman? Was it all about my money? You were only after my body. Luna removed her shoe and threw it at Noah. Noah, furious, grabbed Luna. The two began to wrestle like children, and security, called by someone, intervened. I approached the disheveled pair with a smile. Noah, sign the divorce papers and pay the compensation. Luna, you'll pay every cent of the compensation I'm demanding. And from your ex-husband. He said your cheating is incurable and he knows you're seeing multiple men. Since you can afford that, he'll enforce payment of the back child support and medical bills. No. Noah hung his head in defeat and Luna slumped as security led them away. I apologized to each family member for the disturbance, but they were kind and understanding, which brought tears to my eyes. After that, I could divorce Noah. We were able to agree on the full amount of the compensation I requested. My in-laws were furious, and the family, feeling deceived, turned their backs on Noah. Noah had to repay all the money he squandered and reportedly borrowed from shady sources. Rumor had it he was working multiple jobs to repay the debt, but the amount was too high to cover living expenses. Rumor had it he was taken away by some mafia members last month for unpaid interest. My in-laws didn't plan to file a missing person report, hoping he was safe, but also wanting him to suffer immensely. As for Luna, her infidelity and child became known to all her partners, cutting off all financial support. At 30, she struggled to attract customers in her line of work, turned to her parents, and paid the compensation in full. She ended up on a farm on some island, working off her debt with all wages going to her parents. As for me, I moved to a different town. I bought a house near the sea Benjamin always wanted to see, got the cat he wanted, and lived alone. Sometimes my in-laws visited, and we enjoyed reminiscing about Benjamin. Afterward, I received another letter from Benjamin. It expressed gratitude, apologies for leaving early, and a wish to be my child again in the next life. He ended with, "Mom, stay strong, be yourself, and live long," encouraging me to live my life to the fullest for him. Overcoming the sorrow of not seeing my beloved child grow, I continue to live each